So today we're going to talk about AOC literally laughing at the Republican Party for their daddy issues that they demonstrated this past week. And then we're going to talk about Candace Owens on Piers Morgan and how she quickly reminds people that she is a grifter at the end of the day. Even if it's a conversation to where you're at the 1 yard line, she will still find a way to fumble. Let's have that conversation. All right, so got a question for you. You tell me, who is running the Republican Party? Is it Trump, who got these votes, who did the campaigning and won the electoral college? Is it him, or is it the person who funded his campaign, who took a social media platform, turned it into a propaganda machine, and literally paid people to vote? Is that person president? Because at this point, I don't know. And what happened this past weekend when, the Republicans and the Democrats were scrambling everywhere to continue the government from functioning and not shutting down, some really interesting things happened. And I'm pretty sure anyone who has a couple of brain cells could kind of see this coming. You know what I'm saying? And in my opinion, it's only going to get worse, because when you have a bunch of narcissists running around with millions and billions of dollars, people's egos are going to get into their way. You know what I'm saying? They don't care about the American people. They don't care about your price of eggs. They don't care about the price of gas. They just want to initiate rules and regulations or deregulations for their benefit at the end of the day. So when you have too many cooks in the kitchen, all these, sheeps in the Republican Party, they don't know who to follow. Do they follow Trump, who has proven time and time again, if you get into his way, he's going to end your career? That's happened the past 8 years. Or if you don't listen to Musk, he literally has the money to out-primary you with anyone. He's literally his own super PAC at this point. And he has the money, and he's shown that he's willing to spend millions of dollars, exactly 257 million for Trump to get him in office. And just to read a few tweets that kind of got this all stirred up, he said in one tweet, no bill should be passed Congress until January 20th, when the real Donald Trump takes office. None, zero. Then he goes on to say, any member of the House or Senate who votes for this outrageous spending bill deserves to be voted out in 2 years. And then he says at the end of it, your elected representatives have heard you, and now the terrible bill is dead. The voice of the people has triumphed. Once again, I don't know any American people, quote unquote, American people that voice their opinions about this bill, because there's plenty of things that he talked about that was infactual. Just like when he said they plan to give themselves a raise that's like 40% increase. In reality, it was only like 6%, which will only give them a yearly of like $4,000 to $6,000 extra. Which, hey, I'm okay with telling them no, but to say that they're trying to increase by 40% and a whole bunch of other nonsense that he was spewing out, that is the issue. Someone like Elon Musk is not reading, and he's only putting out false information, and then at the end of it has the gall to say the American people have been heard. No, you have been heard, and you only been heard because you got the money. That's it. You know what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and hear AOC kind of laugh at him, which I think at this point in our lives, we need a good laugh.
Elon Musk, I believe, does create problems for Trump. And I've been seeing over the course of the last week that when Elon tweets something and when Trump tweets something, Republicans don't know. I've said this earlier. Republicans don't know who their daddy is. Like, they don't know which one they need to be listening to first, and it's scrambling them. But it's not a joke that I think Elon poses real political problems for Trump and arguably may have at least rival his power and influence. And that's going to be a problem for Trump. I don't they're both bad, but there you go.
And in my opinion, I mean, hey, tell me if I'm wrong in the comments down below. I honestly believe if it came down to it on who's going to be heard, from the Republican voters, it's going to be Elon Musk. One, he's a lot richer, you know what I'm saying? And to a lot of Republicans, that means something. He has achieved a lot more. I mean, we could definitely argue that, but he's achieved a lot more than Trump. And he has money, and he has Twitter at the palms of his fingers, or palms of his hands, not his palm of his fingers, palm of his hands. So therefore he can manipulate the algorithm for his own benefit. Trump doesn't know that. Trump is going to bed at 2:00 in the afternoon. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's old and done. Once he gets in, the other billionaires and millionaires are going to be running the show. So let's go ahead. And then when it comes to Trump, I just love his response in all this. And this is what's going to be an issue throughout his entire presidency. Let's take a listen.
And no, he's not taking the presidency. I like having smart people. They're on a new kick. Russia, 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 Ukraine, 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 all the different hoaxes. And the new one is President Trump has ceded the presidency to Elon Musk. No, that's not happening. But Elon's done an amazing job. Isn't it nice to have smart people that we can rely on? Right? Don't we want that? It's done a great...
I mean, it's hilarious in a sense, because we've seen this happen time and time again, especially throughout his presidency. But the real issue, and like AOC kind of hinted out, is they're both bad faith actors. They're both evil in their own rights. And at the end of the day, they don't have the people's best interest. They're only there to rig the system even more than what it is for their own benefits and individuals just like them. And we've seen time and time again, just this past week, that a lot of these CEOs of all these companies are now paying into this whole inauguration fund so they can try to be buddies with Trump. And that's really what this is all about, is they're going to protect themselves while we have to get the short end of that stick. So, I mean, if a few millionaires or billionaires are kind of going at each other and they end up destroying each other, honestly, I want that. I honestly wouldn't mind that. But at the end of the day, the people who are going to get the short end of that stick is me and you at the end of the day. So once again, guys, if you agree or disagree with anything I said in this segment, let me know in the comments down below. So when it comes to someone like a Candace Owens, like, sometimes, especially when I first kind of was introduced to her, like, and like how I think a lot of people try to do is try to find the positivity in people. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you first start hearing them talk about politics, you kind of tell yourself, hey, I don't agree with that, but I'm pretty sure there's something that this person, we have to align with something. You know what I'm saying? Especially with her, being African American, like, it has to be something, right? But then, I've been listening to her for the past almost 6 years. I'm just guessing around 6-7 years. And that's no fact. There's nothing that someone like Candace Owens and a conscious black individual has in common. And when it comes to the whole Israel and Palestinian genocide at this point, you would think that this is a subject that someone like Candace Owens could step back and see and say, hey, this is right and this is wrong. And when I first heard this interview with her on Piers Morgan, I almost thought that. You know what I'm saying? Like I almost told myself, like, hey, there could be hope for her. Like she is seeing this through an understandable lens. Let me just hear her out. And once again, damn it, I was wrong. She once again proves to me that she is nothing more than a self-hating grifter at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? And when it comes to having these conversations and almost finding yourself aligning with someone like a Candace Owens, you have to dig a lot deeper. You know what I'm saying? Because if she says Israel is committing genocide to the Palestinian people, which is not a popular position to take, you almost got to ask yourself, what is their end goal in all of this? And what we're about to watch, I think she kind of sheds a little bit of that. And it just, to me, in my opinion, disregards the entire conversation she's trying to have right here.
Dan Bilzerian, what do you feel about someone like him?
Yeah, so I actually didn't watch that interview, so I haven't seen it in its full context, and I try never to weigh in on clips because there'll be something I'm missing,
sure.
and then everybody screams at me. But what I will say is this. The larger discussion that's happening right now is whether or not having survived a Holocaust gives you the permission to commit a Holocaust. And for whatever reason, people have been, what I would say, milking the Holocaust narrative in the same way that Black Americans were milking the slavery narrative and essentially saying, like, we lived through this and we survived this. And so now nobody can say that anything we do is wrong.
So, damn it. Hey, that part right there. And you know, this is 10 minutes into the conversation, and she didn't really get into dumb shit like that until just now. And like I told you, when I was listening, I'm like, okay, maybe, just maybe, she might be able to make some pretty solid points. But to me, once she said that, like comparing Israel killing millions of people, okay, having whatever excuse to wipe out an entire group of people, okay, comparing that to Black folks who, I don't know who she's saying is saying this, but Black folks are saying that because of slavery, we could do no wrong. That's the kind of BS that infuriates me. What are you talking about? When it comes to slavery that was inflicted on Black people, you can statistically still see where a lot of the segregation, redlining, X, Y, and Z. Okay, it's a whole list of things from slavery to Jim Crow to Jim Crow Jr. to the whole entire thing. You can trace it into some of these communities and kind of maybe figure out. You don't have to be the smartest person in the room to figure out, hey, something needs to be done in these communities because of X, Y, and Z, which hence nothing has been done. So I don't understand when she says Black people are using the same excuse that Israel wants to use and say, hey, we've been treated wrong, so therefore we can do no wrong. No. It's almost like the little child toys where, you know, you have a square toy and you fit it in a square cutout. Then you have a triangle toy and you fit it in a triangle cutout. She literally is taking a square and trying to shove it into a circle cutout. It's like, no, that's the grifter in her. She just can't help it but to say the dumb and throw Black people under the bus. Any chance she can get, she's going to throw black folks under the bus. Any chance. But hey, my rant is done. Let's continue.
And that's the big issue. To live through this and we survived this. And so now nobody can say that anything we do is wrong. And that's the big issue today, is that we have so many people that will not recognize that it is totally feasible that a Jewish person, and I'm speaking here about Bibi Netanyahu, could do something as horrific as what was done to the Jews throughout World War II or throughout history.
But is that an accurate comparison? I'll tell you why I say that. As we know, I mean, whatever Dan Bilzerian wants people to believe, 6 million Jews were killed in the Holocaust. Another 6 million people were murdered by Hitler and the Nazis. The numbers of people being killed in Gaza are, in my view, have gone way beyond what is acceptable as a response to October the 7th. However, you're still talking about, at the moment, a death toll of under 50,000. There's no comparison in the amount of dead people compared to the Holocaust. So do you understand why?
But it is a Holocaust, what's happening.
Well, is it though?
Yes. Well,
Okay, so now I thank God that I don't have to be in a room with two of the biggest idiots there is, honestly. Because now, just when you thought Candace was just saying the most dumbest ish you can think of, then you have Pierce. I done forgot all about him, okay? He comes and say, hey, the Holocaust killed 6-ish million people. That's a Holocaust. So how can you compare those numbers to what's happening in Gaza? And, you know, newsflash is more than 50,000 people. It's almost a record over 100,000 people. Like, it's literally wiped out. There's no more Gaza. Okay, like, hey, you know, newsflash, there's no more Gaza. So his mindset is Holocaust was about 6 million people. When it comes to the Palestinian people in Gaza and the West Bank, to his numbers, not even 50,000. So you're telling me, Pierce, okay, with a straight face, in order for it to be a Holocaust, okay, a genocide, it needs to be 6 million people? We now need to play a numbers game here. Because I just looked this up before this. It's roughly around 3 million people, Palestinian people within Gaza. So you're telling me if you killed every Palestinian people in Gaza, it's still not going to be labeled a genocide. That's what bro, hey, we just need to stop trying to dissect everything to fit our perspective or our talking points and just be honest. It doesn't matter if it's 50 people, if it's 50,000 or 50 million. If a person is trying to wipe out a group of people for little to no reason, I mean, it doesn't even any reason, that is problematic. That is a genocide. You are trying to commit a full-blown genocide. It doesn't have to reach a certain number. That is ridiculous. And that's for individuals. That's talking points for individuals who have no heart, no sympathy, and just trying to prove a point. That's the dumb ish that will come out of their mouth. But of course, we got Candace Owens too. So trust me, these are two idiots trying to outdo each other. And it's a headache.
I think language is really important.
I think language is really important as well, and that's
people
why
say Holocaust, genocide.
I think what's happening is a Holocaust. The burning bodies of the children that I'm seeing every day, and we spoke about this a little bit on my show. But I have recognized that the ability to see this stuff every day has transformed my opinion. Maybe the numbers wouldn't have gotten so high if people had spoken up when it was happening at the very beginning during World War II. And so,
okay, hey, she brings up a good point here. So once again, if you don't know Candace, if you don't know her history of her thoughts and opinions when it comes to a Holocaust, Hitler, the whole nine, you would hear that and say, you know what? But I think she's being honest and genuine when it comes to her thoughts about Israel and the Palestinian people. But let me remind you, okay, we got the receipts, bruh. And I haven't seen every interview or every video she's ever made. Maybe she's taking what I'm about to read you and say, hey, that was some dumb things I said. I take that back. I was wrong. I don't know. If she did, let me know in the comments and let me watch it. But until then, she said this about Jewish people and Hitler. She said, she said, if Hitler just wanted to make Germany great and have things run well, okay, fine. That first sentence right there is already an issue. She said if Hitler just wanted to make Germany, okay, my bad, Germany great, that's fine. Okay. Red flag number one. Then she says, the problem is he had dreams outside of Germany. He wanted to globalize. He wanted everybody to be German. So you're telling me that's the problem? That's the problem that you found throughout his whole plan, was to make this global instead of national. Do you see what I'm saying? So you're telling me I should take her serious about Israel being the bad guy when it comes to them killing, genociding Palestinian people. But then she said that Hitler would have been just fine if he would have just kept this in his backyard with this whole genocide of Jewish people, this Holocaust that all of a sudden she's worried about now. It sounds to me like someone is just trying to grift just to grift. I want consistency. That's what you need to look for, people. You can look throughout my entire channel. I have over 600 videos. Not once will you ever hear me say something opposing what I'm saying now. Not once. Consistency. But once again, if you don't know Candace, you're going to think she's really trying to understand the suffering of innocent people. But now, well, no. The problem is he had dreams outside of Germany. That's the problem. Candace, you're not fooling nobody over here. I'm sorry. Fool those other idiots who don't know how to use Google and YouTube. Fool those fools. But not over here. Let's continue.
So I want to use my platform to say that I believe that they are intentionally executing a Holocaust. I think Bibi Netanyahu, there's tons of evidence, and obviously the Western media is not reporting on this, but the corruption trials that are going on with Bibi Netanyahu pertaining to October 7th and him editing the transcripts and the prior knowledge that he knew is now becoming extremely pertinent. It is a question as to whether or not he allowed the attacks to take place, essentially to then be able to go in and to commit this Holocaust against the Palestinians. Now, based on everything that I've looked into and stuff that I had not seen before, because the Western media doesn't cover it, Bibi Netanyahu caught off camera speaking about how he had no intention of following the Abraham Accords and how he was going to get around it. He has, I believe, genocidal ambitions, and that's enough. We don't need to dispute, go backward or forward. Do I think Bibi Netanyahu has genocidal ambitions against the Palestinians? The answer is yes.
Do you think he's a war criminal?
Yes. I believe he's a war criminal, and I think that the issue is how much power he has, particularly in America. And I want to make sure that I'm just crossing, or I guess making that clear to people across the pond. You know, in America, we have lobbying. You guys don't have lobbying here. And so this is why it might seem...
We do, but not to the same degree.
Yes, like AIPAC spent $100 million in our elections. And what that means is that they're able to write fellowships, they're able to pay journalists, they're able to pay people to attack and take down people who speak against their initiatives. And they are, AIPAC, I would say, is very much pro-Likud party, pro-Bibi Netanyahu. And this is why you have seen people like me being attacked in the way that they have been attacked for what I believe is just a human stance on what's happening to the Palestinians. I don't care.
Okay, hey, once again, if you don't know Candace, you're probably gonna listen to that and be like, oh no, how could Israel influence American policies, American governments through buying off politicians? Well, here's a fun fact. Hey, Candace Owens, the party that you represent, and I don't want to hear, no, she's an independent. I don't want to hear that. She votes Republican. She has talking points, Republican talking points. She's constantly working alongside with Republican lawmakers, Republican talking heads like herself, like a Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh. Like, what is independent about her? Okay, so save me the BS with that, okay? Little does she know, her entire party is being bought and being told what to do by AIPAC. And yes, you're probably going to ask yourself, well, isn't there some Democrats who are also getting paid? Exactly. But you know, the ones that are not getting paid by AIPAC and is actually fighting against AIPAC, yes, that is right. Ding, 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 the progressives. Hey, you'll never see AIPAC money in Bernie Sanders' pockets. What happened to Cori Bush? She didn't take the money, and she literally got primaried because of AIPAC. I don't see Candace Owens bringing her to her show to understand, what happened to her when it comes to standing up against AIPAC. No, she's not going to go that far. You know why? Because that's going to lose her money. That's going to lose her followers. She doesn't want to do that. Because it's a slippery slope. She's going to slip and slope her way to being a progressive. And she's not willing to go that far. That's a grifter for you. Name one Republican that's standing up against a prominent person, not no off-brand politician. I'm talking about a prominent one, like an AOC, a Cori Bush, Bernie Sanders. Name one Republican lawmaker that's not taking AIPAC money and standing against what they're doing. Don't worry, I got time. Let me know in the comments. I don't know. I couldn't find one.
Care if you had flipped it, if it had not been Israelis, if it had been if it had been Christians doing this to Muslims, I would say the exact same thing based on the images that I've seen. But there is a ton of evidence that Bibi Netanyahu allowed October 7th to take place, including the things that we found out, because I now read Haaretz daily
You don't actually think he knew it was going to happen?
Well, let's just talk about the facts. We don't have to speculate on that. What we do know is that they did intercept the hostage plan before it took place, right? The 250 hostages that came out in Haaretz media. We also know that Egypt gave them a warning that the attacks were going to take place. Egypt said that they were being ignored. That was a fact. I've been to Israel. Have you been to Israel? We know it's the size of New Jersey. We know that it takes 15 minutes to get from one end to the other. And we know that every 5 feet, there's a person in your face holding a gun. That attack went on for 2 hours without interruption. I find that hard to believe. And this gets to the, I guess you could say, the nucleus of the corruption trial against him, when now he's even arguing with the IDF minister who he fired, Yoav Gallant, am I saying his last name correctly? Where they're saying that some funny stuff happened on October 7th, and they are explicitly accusing him of feeding lies to the Western media. This is crucial. And this could be the undoing of everything. If we find out that he had prior knowledge, and we do know for a fact that he said that he intentionally wanted to take over Palestinian territory, you should find that clip and play it on the show, because it's very significant when he asked the reporter to turn off the camera, and then he starts speaking about his plans for the Palestinians. This was years ago. I think Bibi Netanyahu is a monster, and I think the people that are still standing by him and supporting him, I wouldn't want to have that on my conscience.
All right. So once again, you can trust her if you want. Okay, I'm not telling you guys that you need to, have the same thoughts and feelings about her like I do. But sometimes, if people are trying to tell you who they are, you have to believe them. You know what I'm saying? And just like we heard a million times, I'm going to say it again. A broken clock is right twice a day. You know what I'm saying? If she had these crazy thoughts about how Hitler was treating the Jewish people and how that was okay until he wanted to make it global, that was okay, and all of a sudden you're pro-Palestine? I don't think so. That's not how that works. I need consistency, and I need you to align yourself with other people who have been in the fight, and you're not doing that. So therefore, I don't believe you. So once again, Candace Owens, you are a grifter, and this is just another grift for you to keep on grifting. I'm sorry. But once again, guys, if you agree or disagree with anything I said in this segment or this entire video, let me know in the comments down below, or hit that Discord button so me and you, can have that one-on-one talk. And like always, let's have that conversation.